Hi. Hi. Hi, everyone. It is me, Sailor Moon. Serena here, and I'm doing a YouTube live stream. Now, some of you folks probably know by now that I do YouTube live streams every once in a while, but not every day. And back in the day when I did do what was known as Google Hangout, I only did it until I could get a way to do uploads again. So So I know I know I'm probably not going to get a lot of watch time or a lot of looking going into this live stream, since I know today's a holiday and a lot of folks are on looking Easter for Jesus coming back to life, God bringing Jesus back to life for all of us Christendom folk who believe in that thing. And so hi Serena. Oh, well, I know Omen Boy David White's on here. So here's the first thing I want to get into. So a lot of folks out there always have a big hang up over, oh, what's like what offshoot is it? Like what offshoot is the true Sailor Moon? Well, when I mean that, like which everybody has their thought and beliefs over, you know, or like, oh, which one you should watch. And for like many years, a lot of folks always have their scathing and their shaming of either the deep work or the Cloverway work, and then give all this onlook to the Viz work. And you would think that by now there would be many sides to the Sailor Moon followership. One side of the followership who likes, I don't know, the Viz work, where all they did was put it in English. And then on the other side, the folks who like the Deacon Cloverway work or whatever. And then, but then went off of that side, there's also the song shows. And there is also PGSM, the live Farseer show that only ran from one following, which seems to be forgotten or not talked about as much as all the other offshoots in the Sailor Moon followership. It said, "Hi there, Sailor Moon." Well, thank you for saying hi to me. It means a lot. So when we first get down to, it's always been this way. When I first started YouTube, and this is way back in 2008 YL. Well, when I first made my first YouTube reckoning, it was back in October of 2008 YL. I didn't get my first web shooter until December the 5th of 2008 YL. And even back then, and still to this day, but it used to be big back then, is I would always get folks saying, "Oh, Serena, don't call yourself Serena. Call yourself Usagi, because that's your true name. Oh no, you're not a true Sailor Moon follower if you like the deep work or the Cloverway work." And back then, that was the only kind of work there was. And the only way you could see it was, first there was YouTube, until it got pulled for ownership. And then there was Daily Motion, Daily Shift and Drive, until it got pulled for ownership. And then there was websites like Vugon, till it got pulled for ownership. And then there were other websites like Watch Sailor Moon Online or Anime Planet or Drawing Film World. And then a last one out there known as SailorMoonTV.com. And if you look hard enough, there's Watch Cartoons Online or WCO, which has all my Sailor Moon work. Have the Deep, the Cloverway, the Pioneer work, or Pathseeker work, and the Viz work, Toei work. But back then, that was the only kind of offshoot there was. Oh, hi. Now, some folks out there might say something like, oh, well, I can't get into your show. Now, it's hard to say why someone can or cannot get into a show. Well, my show was big. It started in my show started in 9 between 92 YL, and it did very well for itself. Now, there were a lot of handicaps that it had to overcome once it got to the North Erickson land and the rest of the English-speaking world, but mostly the Wanted Reichs in the settled land. But once they got over that, it worked. The only downside was in the Wanted Reichs, you either saw it on WB or UPN or Fox if you were lucky. Or later on when there was USA and then went to cartoon and that was it. But some folks can't get into my show. Well, happy Easter to you too. Happy today that God has brought in Jesus back from the dead. Our sins were taken in and cleaned. So on top of having the love and forgiveness we always have, we now have the forever life and the stead in heaven too. So, and some folks can't get into my show for all kinds of grounds. But some folks always talk about how, oh, well, they can't get into it. They didn't like all the things that Deke did to it or Cloverway did to it. And I say, well, okay, if you don't like that offshoot, that's fine. And once the Viz came out, all these folks started going and giving on look to Viz. Oh, Viz, this is what we should have gotten back in the day. So let me give you a little saga and tell behind how this stuff's going to work. So a long time ago, and this may have been way back as early as between 94 while, there was a Toei wanted to bring Sailor Moon to the English-speaking world. They went with two businesses to do this. One was the folks at Newborn Sea Glee, known as Atlantic Renaissance Pictures, Renaissance Atlantic Entertainment. And the other side was Deke. Now, the only downside is that those folks, they brought in tune makers to handle the live drawing end. But sadly, it was worth way too much to do a show that was half live drawing and half live work. And still today, it would still be too hard to do it. Hi, Mimi. Hi, Buttercup. Hi, doggies. Oh, that was my dog, which I thought was Mimi want to come in, but it wasn't her. So it was worth way too much. So, Toei, which gave the deal out to tune makers and the folks at Newborn Sea Glee or Renaissance Atlantic Entertainment, for you folks who don't understand the English words but understand the French borrow words more, pulled the deal and went with Deke because it would be more cheaper to have them handle the first two followings of the English work. And so once Deke got the rights to work with for the first two followings, 9 between 95 while until 9 between 98 while, Deke had to follow many oversights, which also the folks at Cloverway had to do 9 between 99 while until 2003 while is how long their deal ran for. So everyone talks about how Viz is the true one. Well, it is in a way what a lot of folks wish they got back in the day. And ever since that came out, well, they no longer have to give anyone hate. So getting back to this whole thing, oh, hi. Oh, hello yourself. You know. No, today is Sailor Mars' birthday, but I'll tell her you said thank you to that. So anyway, getting back to that, still to this day, there are still some folks out there that think that it's all wrong. One time on Twitter, I had folks telling me that you're saying the wrong names. I don't really think there's a big unlikeness between the names here. See, my name's Serena, and other worlds I'm Usagi, and other worlds I'm Bunny. But in the Deaton Cloverway world, which I live in, I am Serena. All right? I know a lot of folks hate that. So, anyway, a lot of things seem to happen a lot, and it tends to go something like this. So, now I'm just forgetting what I was going to talk about here, but all right. So, a lot of folks out there wonder, is there an offshoot of my work that doesn't get any onlook? I mean, besides the drawing films and the books and the song shows, I would say there is. For anyone who's still watching this live stream, I'd say there is. It was called PGSM. It was done in 2003 while the 2004 way out. It was another way of Toei making a new offshoot of Sailor Moon. This was long before they started remaking. This is long before Hearst came into being. So, mine see a Sailor Moon show, which is live showing. But sadly, there is no lawful way one can watch that show. So you got to go through unlawful means to watch it. There are all kinds of websites out there that have it if you know where to look. But why does PGSM not get any on-look from the talked about as much by the Sailor Moon followership as the other ones? Well, it has to do with what they like. Some folks might only like live drawings and might not be into live work. And some folks who are into live work might not be into live drawings. That's like having over good doer funny books that get shifted into a film. And some folks like the books, and some folks like the films, and some will like the live drawing show over the film. So that same kind of hanging cap. Well, there's a lot of folks who have their beloved sailor fighter, whoever that might be. But getting back to the whole thing, I befriended every one of them. We talk about how I befriended Lita. Now, everyone had these beliefs over everyone, but I never believed it. Like, they'd be like, oh, well, Amy's highly wise and she wouldn't want to get along with anyone, but I befriended her not believing what they said. Ray was the same way. You know, everyone thought you keep away from her because she's got the skill or craft or something. Now when we get to Lita, yeah, everyone said, oh, Lita got kicked out of her old learn or thrown out of her old learn for fighting. No one quite knew if this was true or not. But I didn't care. I didn't believe any of it. Same thing with Mina and Unso and Unso. So, anyway, yes. Everyone's got their beloved sailor fighter. And they're all my good friends. And same thing when I met Amara, Michelle, and Tissa and Taru, I didn't believe any of the things folks said about them either. Now we're going to get into something too. We're going over to Stead today. So now we get into Sailor Stars, and everybody likes to bring up Saya all the time, or whatever his name was. And the Sailor Moon follower English work, his name was Dustin. So Dustin will be what he is. Now you might say, oh, wasn't Dustin Sailor Star Fighter? Yes, he was. And you could say, well, wasn't he Sailor Earth before Sailor Earth? No, Dustin came first, even though the things he said and the things he did might lead you into thinking this is how it would have been, but this was still before Ernest's time. You see, Ernest didn't awaken as Sailor Earth until like years later, until like 2009 YL, to be telling you the truth. He was like the last one to be awoken. But Dustin's hang-up is that even though we were good friends, Dustin just did not want to, either didn't want to onlook, or just did not want to believe I had a boyfriend. Now keep in mind, around this time Darian had left. He was going to be learning overseas. He gets killed. He gets slain by Galaxia. Didn't notice. And who knows? So that was his little hang-up, sadly. I had to put him straight about it. With Ernest as Sailor Earth, there is none of that. See, you might look at Dustin or Saya, whatever you want to call him, and say, oh, isn't that how Ernest would have been? No, Ernest is nothing like that. When this was being talked once, Ernest said, well, I think that this Dustin fellow should have onlooked you and knew that you had a boyfriend, and it shouldn't have and he should have believed you, you know. So, and everyone's going to say, well, don't you know your show has been around for about 30 years now? Yes, it is, but I don't know what big things they're going to do for my show. Sailor Venus is cool too. Yeah, let's get into Sailor Venus and Mina now. Now, there are many offshoots of her, but each one of them is like with it. So many offshoots of her. And we don't want to talk about how she was in PGSM, how she was and how she was in the drawing book, the funny books and the live drawing. You know, everyone said, see, and she brings this up. And she's like, well, they bring it up by saying the Sailor Venus's drawing books or funny books or whatever you want to call them came out first. So she was the first one to awaken before everyone else. You know, but she doesn't show up like in towards the end of first following a Sailor Moon. And yes, it's true that Deep did not do anything, did not work with the following that talks about the background, about what led her to all the stuff that happened before she came to Dawnland. That's true, that wasn't done. You know? And everyone's like, oh, well, they just needed someone else to behave and be like me. Well, that's kind of, it's like, well, between Mina, Sailor Venus, and Ernest, Sailor Earth, well, I guess we're about the same. I guess as far as it goes. But she did well. And all my, and, you know, so, and everybody always likes, yeah, a lot of folks like her. You know, a lot of folks like her, you know, for all kinds of grounds. Some liked her because she was FN and she was the first one to be a sailor fighter. Others liked her since her dream was to be well known. In PGSM, she already was a singer, a songstress. But in the other Sailor Moon works, that was her goal. Sad for clearing my throat and all this other stuff that's happened. It says, someone says, like chicken nuggets. I like chicken nuggets. Well, then good for you if you like chicken nuggets, because I like them too. Like, what kind are we talking about here? We talking about the Tyson kind? We talking about the McNuggets you can get from McDonald's, or which kind are we talking about? Yeah, what is it? If it's going to ask me about what I like learning, some folks say sleeping, but I say eating. If that's what if you want to ask about, or why Maya dits in a clutch and a sob baby, or whatever. So no, why you want to ask? Sad for that burp. All right. Well, now here's something new something new I'm going to talk about now. So, first off, I don't know what you're asking me. Mine, Pror, I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, another thing I'm going to talk about here, and it's probably going to come up, or it needs to come up, or at least I'm going to talk about, is how you would think that I'm the only one on YouTube that does this thing with the dolls, right? No one else is doing it. you know. Either they're doing what some call cosplay, but it's more like clothes play when you clothe yourself as a self, and then you show play as a self that you're clothed as. I know some of them out there don't see it as show playing, but it is. But that's not what I do. And there's not anyone else who did. Okay, I'll take that back. There was Sailor Moon Jacob when he was on YouTube, but he's gone. And after that, there truly isn't anyone else out there doing that same kind of thing. I guess you could look at Ava or what do you want to say, you know, Isa, whatever her name is. But she does a lot of things with other dolls from other drawing films, not only mine. But beyond that, there isn't anyone else that does what I do. You know, there never was, and there will be, sadly. You know, I can't think of anyone else that's doing this. So even when I started way back in 2008, while I knew that I was filling a gap for something that no one did, or at least didn't do a Sailor Moon. And I know there's going to be some folks out there that, you know, are going to say that, and this might just be a thought and belief right here, if they say it or they don't say it, but there's going to be, it said, Power Rangers for Life did it, not Sailor Moon. Well, Power Rangers for Life is another one of my YouTube fairways that I run too. And yes, just like them, just like the other YouTube fairway that I also run, no one else is doing that same thing with that show either. You know? So, anyway, yeah. And that's just how it goes. And so now we're going to get down into stuff that I get down to how tied down to the show now. So now we get down to things I have talked about many times on my live streams and my uploads, but I guess I can talk a little bit more into it now. So from 2008 YL to about 23rd between YL, there was big hate. Everyone was coming out of woodwork. Everyone had every mean thing to say, mean words on the films, mean words on the fairway. And I never did anything wrong to any of these folks. Let's keep this in mind. You know, and then, well, it went from 2008 YL to 23rd between YL. There was, and then it offshooted. First, it was just, you know, the shaming and the scathing and the guilting and the sliding. Then it went to the hacking. And then came the fake flagging of many of my YouTube fairways until this one. And I never did nothing wrong to any of these folks. But they felt that it was a smooth goal. They felt that it was something that would make whatever was wrong with their life. They thought that by doing it would make themselves feel good, and sadly, I don't think it ever did. And I do forgive all of them for what they said and what they did back in the day. And I did get many followers for my work who loved me and the work. But back in the day, being a follower of Sailor Moon Red or Sailor Moon Red 1 or Sailor Moon's Best 1 or Sailor Moon's Best 2 or Sailor Moon Tube or Sailor Moon YouTube or Sailor Moon on YouTube or Sailor Moon for Life, you would be dealing with a lot of shit. You would. There would be haters telling you, oh, don't watch so-and-so, making up stuff about me. It was like sad. So, but I lived through that. And then I learned that I can't run and lead them. I can only run and lead myself. So I hush them and lock them. And ever since then, I haven't had any more dealings with any more of them. But now we get to the Sailor Moon followership. It says You're the winner of Love and Right, Sailor Moon, and the name of the moon you'll handicap them. Here's a fun truth. Well, the saying went like this when Deke did it. They may have shifted it over time, but it was first saying, I am the fighter of love and right. If I can recall, and keep in mind, this goes way back to between 92 YL for the Toei work and the Viz work. This goes back to between 95 YL, but I believe it goes, I am the fighter of love and right, Sailor Moon. I I win. I fight. I can't say it right now. I'm a meatball head, and I used to say that all the time. I, the fighter of love and right, Sailor Moon. I fight I right wrongs and I win over evil, which means you. There we go. That's how I used to say it. And then by the two Ford following, Sailor Moon R, no one quite knows what the R stands for. They shifted it where I was still saying that I was the fighter of love and right, but the other half was gone. It was just I'm the fighter of love and right, Sailor Moon, and I'll win over evil, and that means you. And then by the time Cloverweight did it, it was just done to I'm the fighter of love and right, Sailor Moon, and name of the moon I'll handicap you. And I went over. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it went like. It said, did you know that you have the same birthday as Serena and True as Usagi in True Life? Yeah, me and Usagi share everything that's the same. Our meatball, our hair's way, the land we live in, our friends. And everyone keeps saying, oh, Usagi and Serena are one and the same. Well, in name, yeah. But in the way we behave, no. You know? And yes, everything I know that it's some side world right beside my world. This Usagi fellow, she happens to look like me, talk like me, clothe like me, have the same hairway as me, and somehow, in some way, you know, but I never went to her world and she never went to my world. So she just might be a twin, a look-alike, a double dagger of me from another world, who's her friends and my friends look alike, but they don't behave the same. They don't got the same names. Well, some of them do, but not all of them. Most of the yeah. And where I kind of stopped Mike, you know. So how about another side world? Yeah. It goes, cool stream, Sailor Moon, thumbs up, thank you. It goes, what is Sailor Venus and Star Trek, whatever? I don't know. I don't know what you mean, if she was ever in that or not. If she was into it or something, I don't know. I'm not sure I don't know if she was into it or not. But I don't know. So, another thing that we get into, I'm doing good. So, another thing I get into, and it kind of goes something like this. And I can go everywhere. So, I also think that I don't get any onlook from the Sailor Moon followership. And I know that's dumb to think that, and I know that that's not true, but it's like there are folks that, it's like almost like there is, ranks to being in a Sailor Moon followership. The folks on the top are like the talkers, the ones that have the podcasts, the ones that got all the Sailor Moon dolls ever made by Irwin and Bandai, the ones that still buy Sailor Moon stuff. They know everything about the show. They talk about it, give their thoughts on it. They're either mated in some way, they either know all the other big Sailor Moon followers. And then underneath them are like the show players, the ones that they clothe themselves as the cells that they play. And then underneath that are like the folks like me, which, well, I don't know. Because underneath them, then there's folks who just give their thoughts on Sailor Moon stuff. And then there's folks like me who show play through the dolls. But I think at the end of the day, it's not, I don't think, like there's some kind of rank to it. And those ones are never ever going to put me on the list. Like they're never ever going to say, oh, and by the way, you should look at Sailor Moon for life. Because in their mind, it's almost like they think that I'm doing something wrong. But I know you can't make everyone happy and the followership. And I know that there's always going to be high ranked folks and low ranked folks and stuff like that. And David White, Omen Boy, said that a lot of these folks, all they mostly are is they just gather dolls. They don't play with them. Oh, they might give their thoughts about stuff. They might know other things about Sailor Moon, but at the end of the day, they don't really do anything with the dolls they gather anyway. They're like just having them out there. And they're mostly all about, just doing podcasts and talking about all the Sailor Moon stuff, And at the end of the day, then I come along and see all those dolls right there. All of them either came from eBay or came from Amazon. But one thing they all have the same, where they came from Omen Boy or whoever. The one thing they got the same is they all get the love. They all get taken out, played with, and whatever. So if I'm the black sheep of the Sailor Moon followership, then so be it. So a long time ago, I used to think I was the black sheep of the Sailor Moon followership, but that's not true. And I'll tell you why it's not true. Because one, I used to get folks coming at me saying, well, you're besmirching Sailor Moon. You're besmirching my thoughts of it. How can I besmirch something when I'm having my take on it? I used to get that from some Sailor Moon followers out there, or just folks out there didn't like how I was offshooting and unputting things that didn't happen. But the drawing book, the funny books and the song films and the live drawing and the live show have their own things that happened there and own things that didn't happen there. But I was besmirching it. Yeah, come on. So a long time ago, and I don't think I ever brought this up, but I'll just bring it up now. So a long time ago, there was someone called the Sailor Moon fan dubber. I don't know what she had another reckoning, but she is long gone. But she was the one that seemed to get in her head that she thought that Sailor Earth, Ernest P. Worrell, being Sailor Earth, was shaming Naoko Takaguchi. I am not making this one up. And she got mad at me one day, a long time ago, made this whole film about how I was besmirching Sailor Moon and that Sailor Earth, Ernest, was shaming Naoko Takaguchi, or however you say her name, and it wasn't true. And even though I forgave her, and even though that's been years ago, that was the kind of shit you would deal with. But then there were other Sailor Moon followers out there, like, well, I'm going to say Michael Alagi, 86. He's no longer around anymore, but he was a big backer of the work back in the day. And then there was Nick, 2021. He's no longer around either. And yes, there is Megan Pussmacher, if I'm saying her kin name right. She's around from time to time. Oh. It says, I've been Sailor Moon follower since 23 between 24 between YL. Well, I've been a Sailor Moon follower since... Yeah. And Dwayne here has been a follower of Sailor Moon since 2008 YL. So, there. So, and with some folks... Hold on, I'm going to have to do something, and I'll be right back. And this is something you can't do when you're one-handed. So some folks, I kept talking about if they get into Sailor Moon or not. Well, it all has to do with what they like. So you're gonna have folks that say like, I can't get into it because it's like the Power Rangers or Might Keepers. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah. And then some folks out there will be like, well, which one to follow? Well, it depends on which one you want to follow, which one you want to watch. Now, the Viz stuff is going to be the more smoother stuff to get. Since if you go on Tubi, if you go on Hulu, you're going to get the Viz stuff. But if you want to get the Deacon and Cloverway and the Pioneer stuff and the Viz stuff, well, then there's Watch Cartoons Online or WCO. So a lot of folks out there, and whatever you choose to watch is your own business. You know, but I never made it. I never did that. So that's your own business. So anyway, you're probably thinking, am I still being Sailor Moon after all these years? After being 38 or 39, you would think that I would stop being Sailor Moon. Oh, it's still going on. I mean, there's still followings that get written up in the books that you don't know about. It don't get shown on this YouTube Fairway either. Then someone asks, would say, oh, well, Sailor Moon, Serena, when are you going to become young Queen Serenity of the earth, of the new heaven? I don't know. Because, they never say. Like, if you go to the drawing show, they'll say, well, it happened in the 30th, 100 years. But they don't put a date on it. They'll say, oh, but they say in the live drawings, they say in the Toei work, they're like, it happened after between 97. Well, somehow it happened. Somehow God made it happen, and God happened to make me young Queen Serenity and Darien, King Endymion, King Darien, Tuxedo Max, whatever you want to call him, King Endymion or King Darien of New Earth, with New Heaven, which we lord over it in the name of God and Jesus. And you're probably thinking, well, you need to write a book you need to write a saga one day about how that all comes into being. Yeah, I mean, keep putting it off. That's the thing. Keep putting it off. I guess it would be some kind of side book. I guess. Well, how could you be a Sailor Moon follower and 9 between 76 when my show didn't even come out yet? The books were never written. The show was never drawn. The live Farseer show was never filmed. And the song shows were never done either. How could you be a follower of something that didn't come out yet? Are you talking about Overteam? Oh, Super Sentai or Overteam? Because that came out in 9 between 76 YL. And Nako Takaguchi was a follower of that show, which made her want to do Sailor Moon, which Hans Siobhan saw that show and made the Might Keepers out of. So I guess you might be talking about that. Yeah, that's right. My show didn't start till 9 between 92 YL. And then everybody else's offshoot happened. The Viz and Cloverway offshoot, all the other offshoots of it. The Viz offshoot, which is just an offshoot of the old Toei work, which everyone probably offshoots some in some way. But yeah, how could you be a follower of a show that didn't happen until 9 between 92 YL? So I don't know. Oh, what's Deke Entertainment or Deke Glee? The business that was owned by Andy Hayward for many years. The show that got the rights to work with Sailor Moon back in the day and did many other live drawing shows back in the day. Cloverway was some other withdrawal, shut down business that used to do live drawing work too. Deke got bought by Cookie Jar in 2008 YL, and then years later that got bought by DMX Media, whatever they do with it now. And Cloverway, well, they're no longer around anymore. Someone asked me, TWF, make a new Sailor Moon. Farseer. Well, what they really should do is make a follow-up. But the sad thing is that PGSM, the live show, never gotten any work. It never got brought out Dawnland. And for the 30th 100 year, they should do a new one. But most likely one that doesn't even one it's a standalone, meaning that it doesn't follow either the drawing books or the song shows or even a live drawing show itself. Well, that would be if it was like the Power Rangers or Mike Keeper, then you could Mike Keepers and you could kind of get away with that. But I don't know what Toei and Nakoto Gucci are going to do with it. I don't know. But anyway, they should do something. I don't know what they're going to do, but they should do a follow up to the live Farseer show called PGSM 2, since the first one only followed the Dark Kingdom, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they're going to do, to be earnest with you. I know the song shows are still going on to this day. I know there's some shop over in Dawnland that sells all kinds of stuff of mine. But I don't know. I mean, if Toei is going to do something and do the last following of Sailor Moon Hearst, Sailor Moon Sailor Stars, and then offshoot that either as a show or a 2.5 film like they did with Sailor Moon Super S. If you're talking about that, your guess is as good as mine if they're going to do that or not. So, anyway, not really much. He says, yeah. It said, yes, that's safe to say. Yeah. Now, you asked me earlier, how do I get into what? Now, first off, some folks, Dwayne has always told how he got into my show. All right, go back to between 95 YL, when Sailor Moon first showed up. Now, if you were in a settled land, you got it in August. The Wonder Rights folks got it in September that same year. Only in YTV it was run at a good time thing. But in the Wonder Rights you didn't. So anyway, wake up around 6 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning or whatever. Happen to have WB or UPN or WB on. Watch some of the followings. Don't say anything about it and go for your day. And then, watch it when it's on USA, watch it when it's on Cartoon, but don't say anything about it at the time. Then years later, you're watching the Nostalgia Critic or the Past Scaver, whatever the English word for it would be. And he's talking about Sailor Moon. You're like, oh, well, I recall watching that. And that's how you get into it. That's how Dwayne got into it. I can't speak for anyone else getting into it. So, if you want to get into my show, and it's up to you, you don't have to, you don't want to. I know you always play around with it, getting into it, and then you go, oh, well, this isn't going to work out. Well, I would say most likely I would go with the Viz work, because that's going to be the work that's more smooth to get, that Hulu still has a deal with, that Tubi has a deal with, but Tubi doesn't got all the followings yet. And Netflix, well, they only got the her stuff, and that's about it. But why do I always watch the Deke and Cloverway stuff first? Because that's what I grew up on. That's why I had a hard time seeking back in the day. So in my mind, that's what I first watch. I only watch the Viz stuff only if I can't get the Deke and Cloverway stuff. But then I shift names out. Well, thank you for that. You're probably asking, are my other friends going to be on this YouTube live stream? I don't know. I'll have to see. You know? Oh, we read here. Ha ha, Sailor Moon, you think that smile. Ha ha. Love your whatever hair. Need be it. I don't know. Well, how about we just hide this? Oh, I guess I can't do it. Oh, I did. Someone called. I don't know. I don't have her doll. See, here's the thing. I don't have every doll that was ever made by Irwin and Bandai. I'm still working to get Sailor Saturn, still working to get Emerald and Diamond. I'm still working on, getting everyone else. It's an ongoing thing. So I don't have them. And those are the ones that I'm working on getting one day. So I'm kind of handicapped by who I have and who I don't have. And that's going to be an ongoing thing. Ah. Hey, Serena. Yes, Luna? How long you going to do this YouTube live stream for? I don't know. Do it for some time. Yeah. Oh, here's Luna, everyone. Hi, everyone. It's me, Luna. Yeah. Who do you think she's more like? Not, Alfred Hayes, Nigel McGuinness, or more like Wade Barrett, or is it Kevin Patrick? God, some folks say I talk like Mary Poppins. Well, I can't help that. Yeah, well, anyway, who do you think? Yeah, you want to say something like that? Yeah, I do. Well, who do I think I'm being I talk like? Tracy Moore? Terry Hanks? Lena Bellatime? Who knows? Yeah, and somehow Luna Artemis must be the world's oldest cats. Yeah, God makes us live for a long time, gave us a skill and craft to talk. And what is it with this whole thing, Luna says, about how I'm either blue or black? No one can understand. I'm black. And then they give me shit. In PGSM, they give me shit for shifting into a girl that becomes a sailor fighter. Yeah, you do shift into a woman, and Sailor Moon S the film. Yeah, but I think that was most likely taken from the funny drawing book, and doesn't really match up with anything else that was going on in the other show. I was a pop hero toy, a pop good doer toy. Yes, she was. The only true Luna we have. Before that, she was just some stuffed black cat, and we just put some kind of half moon on her forehead. Yeah, you did. So, what else are we going to do here? Yes, I'm from Sailor Moon. I'm Luna, her friend and her cat friend and her teacher and whatever else I was. What else I was to her? Yeah. So. Mhm. I know you can't really see very well, but that's just how it goes. So, how long you going to do this? How long you going to do this for? I told you, Luna, I don't know. For some time. You know, if you're going to be irksome about me doing a YouTube live stream, I don't need this from you. Yeah, because you're going to be a meatball head. You're going to do a live stream all day. You got other things you got to do. I do all my other things. I do all my other stuff. You've been telling me, oh, I gotta grow up, I gotta do this. And I have done all my things. I've grown up since the first day you met me. Yeah, well, just make sure that you do what you're doing. I know, right? You gotta change my litter. You gotta change the sand and you gotta clean out my box. I do clean out your box. I do it every day. Yeah, sure you do. You clean my. You know what? I don't need this from a cat that talks like Alfred Hayes or Nigel McGuinness or Wade Barrett or Kevin Patrick. And I don't need you shaming me that way. I don't need you sliding me that way. Oh, geez, Luna, I'm sorry for all those things I said. I guess I liked ECW. I thought it was all right for how it was and all the things that they did during the time. I liked the true ECW, which was owned by Todd Gordon and Paulie Dangerously, and he's in WE's offshoot once they bought it in 2003 YL, which still to this day, a lot of folks still talk about that. Still this day, they still talk about WWE's ECW show and the team, which ran from 2006 YL to 2010 YL. Something that a lot of folks hated, but they still talk about to this day. So I liked all of them. But now I'm gonna be going now. All right. Yes, I do on look Spider-Man or Spinner Man or whatever you want to call him, since he did say he unlooked me. And I know in the first films they made, they were making Peter Parker be a klutz like I was from time to time. But anyway, it is what it is. So anyway, I just want to say thank you everybody coming on my YouTube live stream. Wish you all a happy Easter. Happy that God brought Jesus back, and now we have the love and forgiveness, and now we have the afterlife and are set in heaven now of our sins being taken away and cleaned. And we are as holy and good as we were now, that we are now good and holy again, that we were once upon a time, which we are now again. So I'll see you later. And thank you all for watching my YouTube live stream. And in the name of the moon, And I'm gonna say it this way: I am the fighter of love and right, Sailor Moon. I win, I fight, I right wrongs, and I win over evil. And that means you. And I used to say this a long time ago too, where this is more of a Toei offshoot. The moonlight is the speaker of love. I'll see you all later. Bye.